then I put it on television, and it will help them to self-evaluate and put marks. And I usually have two phases of pre-watch self-evaluation and after-watch self-evaluation, so we have something to talk about.
Anybody else use video in their classroom?
Yeah.
How do you do it, Patty?
We normally have, in my class I normally set some projects in every partial. We have 4 partials in our schools. So in every partial we come up with a project. Just to give an example, we had a Christmas celebration last year. So we recorded all the parties since they decorated the room and the vocabulary and conversations they had.
I like the idea of using that video with your administration and with your colleagues in order to demonstrate that you're making a difference. There's a real change. It's good work. So I like to video my own teaching to make sure that I'm becoming a better teacher. And so I will bring my camera into my classroom and videotape my students and videotape myself. In fact, at the end of every year, we do evaluations of teaching. So we submit our documents to our boss. Do you do this? Submit documents to your boss every year? Well, we have to at university. So I always submit a video. I say, you want to know about my teaching? Here, look at it. Please. I'd be very happy for you to watch me teach the T group or to teach my science methods. By the way, I teach science education. But I also teach action research to everybody. It's my area about our work. Okay, let's get serious. Okay, I'm going to show you the plan for today is to show you some ideas about action research, right? And then in the first part, I'm going to ask you to work in groups, and I want you to write a list of the things that are problems in your classroom. Okay, so that's the first part is essential ideas, and then what are the problems I'm facing in my classroom. Okay? The second part of the class today will be a few more words and ideas about action research. And then next to the problems, we'll make a chart of what we can do, what the solutions might be. Okay? And I hope you're learning things in your classes that will help you. Maybe there's some things you can list. And then we will come back to the third part of today's class, and I'll show you a couple of studies that were done by my students. Okay, they're teachers. So I'd like to show you an action research project. And boy, if we get all that done in 3 hours, it would be a really good thing. Like I said, usually maybe a year and a half. But that's from beginning to end. It takes a while. Action research takes time. It just doesn't happen. You have to be in your classroom. It's methodical. It takes time. So the reason, do you know this word, empowerment? You do, right? It's when you have the feelings and the beliefs that you can do the work, okay? So action research is embedded in the idea that it's empowerment. It helps you become a better teacher. What I find with young teachers, like second, third year teachers, when they do action research in their classroom, they get better fast and they become stronger, and their administration looks at them as very good teachers. So for young teachers, I think it helps them get better fast. It builds a lot of respect in their position. Okay, so here are some key words. So there are some new words here. Okay, some detail words, some like academic words. Okay, so action research is a reflexive process. Reflexive. Do you know what the word reflexive means? What does it mean, Julia?
Thinking and going over what has already happened.
Right, reflecting in your mind.
In your mind.
Is there anything else? What happens after you reflect in your mind? Some reaction, yeah. So to reflect is like a mirror. You look in a mirror and you see yourself and you say, well, okay, that's me, right? To reflex means to do something, you know, to change. In biology, did you ever go to the doctor where they hit your knee? You know, it's a reflex. Something happens. Yeah. So as a teacher, you can think about what happened today in class, but you need to do something. Okay? It's not just enough to think about it. So it's reflexive. It means an action process where you systematically study your problems. So systematically refers to collecting all of your students' quizzes, their tests, their work samples, and you systematically look at the results. Systematically. You study the problem. Maybe my students are not motivated to guide, correct, evaluate, and then improve your teaching. Okay? We got that one right. Okay? So another way of thinking, action research. It's another key word is that it's collaborative. It's a very well. In order to be successful in your teaching and to do action research, it would be better to work together, okay, rather than by yourself. I think of this like climbing a mountain. Okay, it's much easier to climb a mountain when you have partners and you can help each other. Okay. And it's less dangerous, by the way. You're less likely to get killed, okay? So in action research, it's a good idea to have partners and to work together, to do collaborative work. And it's also a cycle. So it's, like you said, it's constant. It's like a cycle. You're always coming back and changing, right? We said strategic planning, systematic strategic planning, action, observation, evaluation, self-evaluation. You know this critical, self-critical. I'm being critical of myself, my work. And people believe, okay, across the world in action research, that it leads to changes in social, cultural, and political systems. It's not just about my own teaching, but if I can change my teaching, and I'm working in a group, then the changes will emanate to the group. The changes in the group will emanate to the school. They'll emanate to the community. So it's a system of change. And that's one reason why some school systems don't like it. Okay, because they're not very interested in change. They want to keep everything the way it is because it's easier to control. So. Yeah, and some cultures, by the way, some cultures are, I think, less critical than others. We don't have many people from Southeast Asia, do we? Right? So, or Asian people. But I work in Thailand, right? And the people there are Buddhists. And Buddha says that you should honor and respect your teachers. You should not argue with your teachers. Yeah. So how do you become critical? How do you become a problem solver if you're not critical? You know, if you don't question your teacher. So culturally, we see some differences. This has not been my problem in Russia, though. When I work in Russia, people there tend to be rather critical, you know, and they want things to be better, and they want results, and that's like a different cultural norm. Is it true, Tatiana, do you think? In Eastern Europe, Russia, that people, you think it's true?
No, she is critical.
Yeah. I think it's a cultural norm, and I think so. So I think it's something to consider when you go back, you know, to your countries. Okay, everybody okay on this? Just summary. It's summary work. Okay. Let me talk about types of action research because I think there are several ways of doing it. We're talking today primarily about effectiveness and efficiency of educational practice. This is like going into your classroom and changing things, and it's a rather technical approach. Okay, I'm going to do this, and it's going to result in this. Okay, basic. When you get good at that, after a while, it becomes transformative. So it goes beyond just well, today I'm not going to lecture, right? Today I'm going to do group work, right? That's a technical solution. But as I do group work, as I do problem solving, as I change my teaching from day to day, it tends to change the way people think about teaching, the way people think about learning. Your students will begin to understand that, oh, wait a minute, Brody, he doesn't want the definition, okay? He wants to solve the problem. It transforms consciousness. It's a different way of looking at the world. And finally, when groups of participants get together and they do this over time, it can be emancipatory. You know this word, emancipatory, emancipation?
Kind of freedom.
It's a kind of freedom, right? It is. And so in the United States, for example, we have these things called standards, right? We have science standards, we have math standards, and all of my young teachers, my student teachers, you know, they want to meet the standards. That's the way they think about it. I want to meet the standards. That's a very technical way of thinking. Okay? But as they become more mature, they become better teachers, they don't have to think about the standards as much because they can do the standards, you know. I mean, that's great. But there are other things I can do. So it moves towards this kind of freedom from the, look at this, the dictates of tradition. Dictates of tradition. We always do it this way, so you should do it this way, please. Okay? Some self-deception. Like, that was a great class. Everybody had fun today. But inside, you know, it could have been better. Coercion of students. You're going to do it my way. Critique of the bureaucratic system. You know, these are big ideas, huh? I mean, this is like trying to change the way education works.
What is that word in there?
Which one?
Is the line 2, co-erect?
Coercion means it's often used in a political sense, and so in the extreme, a dictator, okay, would coerce the people to do what the dictator wants. They would coerce and they force to do. In a classroom, it often plays out that the students are not happy with the class, and the teacher ends up coercing them. I'm going to send you to detention if you don't behave yourself today. Okay, detention. It's like you're forcing them to be good. Yeah. Coercion.
Good word.
It's a good word. It is. It's a good vocabulary word. Coercion. We want to move away from that. We want to move away to allowing students to learn in different ways, and we want them to become more free rather than coerce them to do things the way we want to do them.